I'd love to just go down the row, say your name, which film was yours, what was your position on it, whether you were the filmmaker, writer, director, actor, we want to hear about it, so let's just go down the line.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm the director of Love Suicide.
Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm the writer, director, and I play the mom in Node. I'm Ash. I'm the director, executive producer, and editor of May I Put You on Hold. Jesse, co-writer, director of This Is a Story About Love.
I'm Laura. I was the producer for Hit Woman.
I'm Malachi. I was the director of Hit Woman.
I'm Megan. I was the co-writer and actor in This Is a Story About Love.
Hi, I'm Aziza Ngozi, and I was the editor for This Is a Story About Love.
Awesome, thanks so much for being here, you guys, and just like I said, it's so cool to see so many different stories and what all our creative brains come up with. I always just think that the fact that we get to this point, to the screening point, in a room, at a festival, you've overcome so many challenges along the way. It's really a time where like we can inspire each other and learn from each other. Does anyone have like a particular story from their time in the film process where like, I know as a filmmaker there's a fire to put out every 5 seconds, but was there a particular fire or moment where either like you learned something big and new or your crew really came together that you think like, oh, like this was so huge for me as a filmmaker and I wish other people knew about this? Doesn't have to be life-changing. Anything we can all learn from.
There was a literal fire.
Literal fire?
Yeah, we shot in Idlewild, California, and you know it's a mountain in California, so that was like definitely something we talked about. Was like if there's a fire, drop everything, like just get in the car. And as we were shooting, we like kept hearing sirens, and we're like, oh, that's weird. I wonder, you know, whatever. I don't see any smoke. Everything seemed fine. We kept shooting, shot everything. And then when we drove down the mountain on the way home, we saw these burn scars, and we were like, oh my God, there was a real fire. Wow. And we had no idea.
Oh my gosh. I'm sure it's one thing in theory to think like, oh yes, just drop everything, but you're looking around at like your crew and all the equipment that's come together.
Yeah,
What do we have to prioritize here? That is scary and intimidating, but I'm glad everyone was safe. You all got through it.
Yes, yeah.
Any more?
Yes, I think driving the equipment all the way up to North Idaho was pretty nerve-wracking.
Oh.
That's my producer over there. We shot up in North Idaho like an hour from Canada. And so I find one thing that was amazing was literally just getting everybody up there.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we crewed from all over the place. Our actress was from Seattle. We had some actresses from the town. We had some people from LA. Our set designer was from Portland. So just the fact that we were able to get everybody up there was pretty amazing.
How did you pick North Idaho? Why did you guys
That's where I was raised. So that's
Okay.
the town that the story actually took place. So I thought that, yeah, the town's like a character within itself. So I needed to. I was like, we gotta go up there. I don't know.
Were there other challenges or maybe a couple things that may have been easier shooting way outside of LA in a town that probably doesn't get much filming?
I mean, yeah, it was fun to shoot in a town that like doesn't really get this.
Were they
very
excited?
often. You know, people are like, "Ooh, what's going on?" Instead of just another shooting
Yeah.
project. Like, so it's cool to be out there in the small town.
Yeah, that's great.
I would love to share. So me and Malachi worked on the first short, the micro short, and I think I don't think we had any issues on set.
We had 10 people all drop out.
The day
So,
of.
yeah.
You want to share that, Mal?
Yeah. So it was originally a 10-page
Was
script.
that your whole crew? That's
Yeah.
fine.
It was like 4 people, all cast and
Wow.
crew. Yeah, it was 4 people total on set. Yeah, thank you.
That's
Thank
crazy.
you. Yeah, we went off storyboards. It was just me drawing and being like this.
What happened to everybody? Where'd they go?
Yeah, where'd they go?
Different cases for everything.
Oh my gosh,
so it was
no
just like
way.
everything was going wrong, but
So you ended up just having to like look at who could tackle what category.
yeah, it was me. We had a DP, and I was like, give up on lighting because that's just not gonna work. So things are a little bit blown out. But I was like, let's just let's just roll with it and see. Yeah, just drawing and being like that. Let's do this.
So I think personally, I really like working on microsharks, and I kind of like working with a small crew.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if we can bring people who are fully on board and everybody's on putting the best of themselves, everything can kind of go smoothly. So even if you, most of the crew ends up having other commitments, I think the sense of community can kind of be greater sometimes because everybody is there and is giving everything of themselves. And working on microshorts, especially microshorts without dialogue, I think there's so much space for us to kind of work it on post-production.
Yeah.
And a short that kind of brings back that feeling of make-believe. That's why there are no guns, but we pretend there are guns. So I think that's what makes it like, I believe every filmmaker at a point in their childhood were playing make-believe all the time. So I do think that's the beauty of the project, is bringing back, like, this is what movie making is about, at least in its source. Like, let's pretend and believe that this is an action movie, which it is, but with that sense of fantasy that brought us to be storytellers.
Yeah, you were really forced to prioritize, huh? Like
Very
what
much
your
so.
intentions were. And I bet it really streamlines communication when you can just talk to your whole crew right in front of you.
Half of the crew were brought just for editing, composers.
Yeah. We had a lot of post-production work that we got done, and yeah, that's really where it started.
That's
to-
great. And now I'm sure those are the people that you'll call first next time because they really had your back then.
Oh yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
These projects are always just such a commitment. Like, I mean, there are so many art forms that, of course, they take like intention and time, but filmmaking is just one of the ones that like really can consume your life for a period of time. I just want to see like a show of hands. Raise your hand if your film took you 6 months.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
production
Okay, no, this is the
line.
minimum. This is the minimum. 6 months.
There is a hiatus.
Okay. Well, that counts. You're still thinking about it. 1 year. 2 years.
Well,
3 years.
Is this with the writing process?
technically.
Oh, yeah, from the day you
Live.
started.
Plus on
Yeah.
ice.
I'll say it was like
We'll turn it down.
Yeah.
5 years.
1.5.
5 years. Okay, see, I knew there would be a winner. 5 years.
Well, we had a pandemic and a strike in the middle of
That's
it.
right.
We were ramping up like pre-production in early 2020 and had
Oh my
already cast the
goodness.
2 actresses, and I had a completely different DP, a completely different producer, and then we all know what happened. And then both the producer and the DP had kids and could no longer commit to the project. And then in like, I think 2023, I was like, we're gonna make this. And then there was the SAG strike, and my actresses are SAG, and they're like, sorry. And so it
That's
just
wild.
kept being pushed off, yeah. But I was still working on it, and the luxury of that is I had a lot of time to location scout,
Hmm.
and a lot of time to, I visited that location like multiple times before shooting, and took tons of pictures and used Previs Pro. I don't know if anyone's heard of Previs Pro. It's amazing,
Yeah.
right? I love it. Yay, Previs Pro fans. It's this amazing iPad app where you can like build 3D models of your set and put a camera in it and choose your camera and choose your lensing, and then you
Wow.
make your storyboards. And you can also import images. So I made an entire animatic. I did a table read with the actors, went to the location, took photos of the location, and made a whole animatic of the film before making the film with those
You
3D
made an animated
storyboards.
film before you made the live action
Yeah,
film.
with
Oh,
storyboards, so that I could make sure, cause like going into the I mean, talk about challenges, like shooting in the forest sucks, guys. It really sucks. There was a lot of challenges, all natural light, like we were in a ravine, so like any light, like my DP would set up a shot, and in the time she set up the shot, the light would change, and so
Oh,
it was
of
just
course.
like, and we had to carry everything out into the forest, and we really carried the toilet out into the forest, and like, just so much, so it's like, I had to make sure that it was working before we got there, and I had that luxury because of all that stuff, thankfully.
Yeah, wow, and it's such a reminder of just all that Los Angeles has been through, and somehow how resilient filmmakers still are. That like we still after the pandemic and strikes, multiple strikes and fires, and yet we are still here at these festivals. We're still submitting and we still show up. That's really incredible. Yes.
I think ours would be more like 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
Because we both had babies in March in 2020.
Oh,
And
wow.
so we locked down on Thursday. Those are my real kids. So that's my real daughter who was born 2 days after we locked down. And we had this idea of making something about, like, there's a pandemic and people are still like having kids. Like, this is still happening, and you know, being locked in our house for 2 years and trying to figure that out. And just the idea that there was a moment where we thought we may not come out of this. Like, this might be it. We might all die, and that might be the end. And we've got these kids, and how do you have joy and love and happiness in this moment where you're like, you all may not survive this, like, for real. And so that, I would say 2020 was when we started talking about that in the depths of the darkness of never sleeping with your newborn. And then we didn't shoot till 2024 because I looked at my kids and was like, dude, they're gonna age out of this. And then we're gonna have to hire somebody else's kids.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know what that looks like.
Mm.
I mean, they were horrible, but like,
They were so cute. They were so I was gonna ask how you guys had the chemistry, but now that makes sense.
dude,
We did rehearse with them actually. They had a lot of dialogue, which was impressive.
they never stopped talking.
Some improv, or was it all scripted? Like, was
We had a full script, but all the kids' lines we considered them placeholders.
Okay.
They were like, they will say what they're gonna say.
Although Xavier was pretty good.
pretty,
When we
yeah.
needed him to say something, he said it.
He landed on a mark a couple times.
Yeah, he
actually.
did. I yelled at him, but
I
it
will
worked
say
out.
the thing about timing, though, I mean, it's worth mentioning this at a women's festival. We were really intentional about using a kind of unapologetic feminist process.
Yeah.
So we weren't on set longer than 7 hours, I think. We shot 3 days, and then our post process, we were really intentional about taking our time with it. We didn't apologize for it. We were like, it's going to take the time it takes, and that's okay.
I apologize.
No, it's not. It was my favorite. Aziz is the most wonderful editor. Please, everybody hire her immediately.
They
She's the
had babies in 2020. I had a baby
Yeah.
during the post process.
Because you were jealous, right?
Something like that.
But I feel one of the things I feel most proud of is that we were like, no, we aren't going to overextend ourselves, and it's going to take the time it takes, and that's going to be great.
Yeah, we had breaks too in our sessions, and you know, good healthy time. You know, sometimes in editorial sessions, no one wants to take a break, but they are healthy. We got to eat. So
Feed
that
your
that seems more in a feminist or mindful, healthy aspect that doesn't always translate into posts.
Yeah, that's so important. Why is that rare? To have a calm kind of set where you're allowed to eat and
hours.
I know, exactly. It's so important that you're here and setting new standards and then getting to know each other and be like, oh, that's how you work. I want to work like that. And then hopefully just like build more and more and more. I know that people sometimes love talking about their crew more than they love talking about themselves. Are there any MVP members you want to shout out and why? Like why and how they really swooped in for you? Yeah. Aw.
Shout out the editor. I've worked with Aziza before on a different project, and the whole reason why, and I kept telling Jesse, I was like, no, it has to be Aziza. She has to be the one who edits this. Like, we had a couple of different moments where we were like, this is taking forever, but it's going to be worth it. And that part of it is because Aziza has this incredible ability to create a shot out of something that didn't exist. Like, there were times in a previous project that she would like create a close-up out of something that we did not shoot as a close-up. And I'm like, I don't know how you go about doing that, but there's this magic in editing. I don't know any about it. But there's this magic in editing where Aziza just has this ability to make something that you didn't know, like to shape the story in a way that we didn't know that was the shape, and then she'd make something and we'd be like, that was what it was supposed to be the whole time, which is just incredible.
The montage after the fall was
Oh my
was
gosh,
not
the
original
montage
script.
after the
That was
fall.
amazing.
So good. So there you go.
That's incredible. I think we underestimate editors sometimes in that way. They can really change everything.
Yeah.
Whole other movie.
shout out to Soho.
Shout out my producer Cole in the audience. I remember we were on a little nighttime walk in NoHo,
let's do it. And she made it happen. Let's go.
Woo.
And Ethan too. He was a sound mixer, and we recorded the score together. And the post process is just such a whole. It's like making another movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fascinating.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Our composer, my husband there.
What was creating the score with your husband like?
Oh, because
It was 2 emails.
Looks
good. Yeah.
Honestly, a dream for a composer too.
The project was kind of on ice for a while, but we kind of like, hey, this has potential. Let's tackle the editing again. And initially it had a copyrighted song. It was like a classic rock song, I don't remember which. But we're like, we want to keep the same momentum. And I know my husband, he's a composer on the side, he's technically a software engineer. But I know he loves it and he knows rock. And I was like, you want to tackle this? He's like, hell yeah. For free?
I had a lot of fun. It was pretty fun.
And for free. You did a great job.
But
Yeah,
like,
thanks.
Because we like the idea that because we had the rock band, the original rock song as a basis, so we kind of went from there. We also took the opportunity to fix some color correction and a little micro editing. But we brought it back and we are now starting the festival run. Yeah, I'm happy with it.
Nice, excellent. Well, I want to open it up. Do you guys have any questions for each other's films, or any? You guys have any questions for any of these filmmakers?
I want to learn more about. I think there are 2 stories here who are very personal. Yours, Sarah, and yours. I wanted to know a little more about the process of getting the side of yourselves and bringing it to the screen.
Yeah, mine started. I knew I always wanted to write about my experience with cancer, but I wasn't quite sure how to go about it. And then we have to discuss if it's a year or 2 ago. I don't remember, but I feel like a couple years ago I just started writing memories as little vignettes, and I had 2 pages, and then I had 4 pages, and then all of a sudden I have 12 pages of little vignette memories, and I was like, wait, this could be a short. Maybe we can make something. So that is how but it's definitely a process of going to those memories, and being like, what do I remember and what do I want to tell and from what perspective. So it was pretty fun ultimately. Glad I did.
Great.
I think for us, where did we start?
There were 2 short films that we were going to make, and we were going to start with. We started with this one. But we had both. It was like a duet of films around motherhood and chronic illness, broadly. And I think how.
I think what happened, I think what happened was, we were locked in our houses, and I had a friend who went in to have a baby, and she made it out of the hospital, but the baby didn't, because they both got COVID in the hospital. And I had this thought of like, terminal illness, like what do you do? Like if it was flipped, right? So the baby went home and she'd have died. Like what do you tell the kid or whatever? And that turned into terminal illness, which we started talking about a little bit of like, but if you had a terminal illness, how do you, like, are you writing letters to your kid? Are you making videos for your kid knowing that eventually you're not going to be in their life anymore? And I think all of us have chronic illnesses. So it morphed into that idea of like, my kids obviously, a lot of those lines are improv, and my kids obviously know, like, mom needs ibuprofen, or mom needs to rest, or mom's tired, or, and it's things that I notice that they know and do that obviously when you're at the park, nobody else's kids are running over and being like, are you okay, mom? Do you need some water? And I was like, oh, they're growing up differently than other people.
Yeah.
So I think it came out of, like, that was like the progression of how we got to this is a story that we know really well that we can tell.
The way we wrote it was we did a of like interviews where I just like interviewed Megan and got to the crux of the story. I was like, what's your biggest fear? And one of the fears was, well, what happens if I'm not home where it's safe, if I fall in a public place and someone assumes I'm not my kid's mom and tries to separate us. So that became kind of the center, which was, it's kind of a climax, but it's a feminist structure, so the climax is kind of in the middle with like waves in and waves out, rather than like 3/4 through. And so what we did was I took all that information and structured it, and then we went back in and Megan like saw the structure, rearranged some things, and then
Wrote the dialogue.
we put all the dialogue pieces in, and that was how the.
Did you plan for it to be like montage style-y like that? Like it's kind of,
We knew it was.
you know.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be impressionistic.
It's beautiful.
But I think Aziza was such a big part of making it
Yeah.
the world that it actually is.
She says that all the time. There was definitely a structure. They have built the structure, and I was able to fall into that world. So, and just support it, and just we just worked on our pacing and what we wanted to show, what we didn't want to show. So, yes, no, yes. It was there.
Well, thank you for that question. Yeah, it's really great insight into how personal these stories are. Well, that's all the time we have for questions, but feel free to mingle and all meet each other. We've got a few minutes to do your second